here's how it happened. I was at a perfume meetup. Just by chance, I was talking to Demi Rowling, as usual, because we're such besties, right? And she asked me, like, what is your favorite kind of like nude perfume? You know, something that you wear without thinking. So I said like, oh, you know, so-and-so, if you do, and it's like, I met like no understanding in the eyes of the people that I was talking to. I realized, oh my god, all of my nudes, like fragrance nudes, are impossible not only to pronounce, but like it's, like I don't have a single well-known, well-established perfume in my everyday rotation that I could just like, that everybody would know.
So with aims to salvage this situation a little bit, I'm making this video. Talk about the perfumes that I wear. I think everyone who loves perfumes and fragrances still very quickly discovers what is their sort of comfort zone. What kind of perfumes you can, what sort of olfactory family, the type of perfumes that you wear without thinking. So for me, it all started with soft florals and more like oriental florals. So sweet but not too sweet, floral but not too floral, with very, very finely milled spices somewhere in between. And one of the good examples of those kind of nudes, the perfumes that I would just always enjoy wearing, they're very light, yet they have a lot of this, a little bit of a flirtatious allure about them, yet they're not dominating, they're not screaming at anyone, they're not, and again, they're not annoyingly or cloyingly sweet either. An excellent example of that is Lolita by Lolita Limpica. Here I'm showing you Eau de Parfum, which is like a glossy bottle with some golden accents, like a flower. The one that is Eau de Toilette, I actually like more. That was my first purchase. I finished that up. And I bought this thinking that Eau de Parfum is going to be a little bit punchier, a little bit brighter or like longer lasting. Absolutely not true. Eau de Parfum Lolita is actually sweeter and has less of a character. It's almost a little bit more toned down and sweeter, and maybe some people prefer that. I personally really like Lolita's Eau de Toilette version because it has a lot of pink pepper, so it has this like kind of like bright, punchy and very girly character to it. So this is a really great way to kind of like get acquainted with nude, sort of sitting close to the skin, yet perfumes that have a character, that have something that they have to say, have a little bit of spiciness, but it's in no way overwhelming or niche. Another kind of version of that, it is more like affordable and you can get it anywhere and it's not really expensive, would be Aromatics in White by Clinique. I would say this is sweeter. That is definitely a little bit more on the gourmand side, but still it's a very soft version of a sweet, florally gourmand fragrance with, again, very, very fine oriental kind of like echo. Like the spices here are so soft that you barely notice them, but they definitely give it a little bit more sophistication, almost a little bit more it's like those merino wool sweaters, you know, they're very soft and yet every once in a while there's a fiber there that's a little bit prickly. Yeah, that's how I feel about Aromatics in White from Clinique. So this was kind of like my entrance to like developing understanding of what kind of perfumes I can just, you know, put all over and always enjoy them regardless of climate, weather, my mood, circumstances. So that was kind of like the beginning of it. Another version of it that's like the girliest I can show you from all of this collection is gonna be this beautiful bottle by La Perla. This is La Mia Perla by La Perla, and I was fortunate enough to get a decant from a friend who actually didn't really like this fragrance that much, and at the time you could get it from Sunbird. So, and they're kind of famous for this kind of formulation. It's very skin-like scent, and yet every time I wear it I get compliments. I don't feel it on myself, but somehow it has this quiet sillage that just quietly kind of crawls around and fills the space with it without really appearing like a strong-minded fragrance either. I would call it moderately sort of tonka bean kind of sweetness, right? Like it's not liquid sugar, not gourmand sweetness. It's very kind of like vanilla ice cream, mild type of like almost moussey kind of sweetness with a little bit of spices hidden here and there. It's just so finely milled, so round, so cuddly. Like this is the most cuddly scent that I actually own. This is beautiful. I absolutely love it. For me, it's like my pajama scents, basically. I feel so relaxed. So relaxed and girly when I wear it. Now we're moving toward a little bit spicier versions of the same story. Another, if you're intrigued by these kind of descriptions, most of these share a lot in common. So the next one that kind of started solidifying my conviction about that this is my olfactory nude was La Tempérance by Dolce & Gabbana. This is actually really cheap online. You can buy it on eBay for maybe like 30, 25 bucks. And again, it's very tasteful, quiet, finely milled kind of puree of spices. Its spices here are a little bit more dominant than in previous cases, and yet there is no any kind of like, this is not, that they're not classic spices. You're not gonna find any kind of like, you know, dominant or masculine pepper or this or that or coriander. No. This is so elegant, so easy breezy, very unisex. It's not too sweet, it's not fresh at all, but it's also not heavy. It's just almost like a nutty souffle with a little bit of spices, kind of like nutmeg powder put on top of it. A lot of these scents I would call souffle-like, mousse-like, because that's the kind of the density, that's how you feel them in your surrounding when you spray them around. And again, for me it's very important that fragrances like that don't dominate me, in that I don't feel them 4 hours later kind of like being stubborn and cloying or annoying my senses. So most of these don't have super long longevity, but as I said, like some of them like Meliora Perla by La Perla have surprisingly long trail. So like people actually do feel them way past the point when I still can smell it on myself. So La Tempérance by Dolce & Gabbana, it's number 14 in their line. It's one of those. The most famous one is probably number 3, L'Impératrice. That has a cult standing in Russia, by the way. So this is less known, but for me it's actually my favorite from this line. Very affordable, very inoffensive, and yet elegant, soft, moussey kind of spice perfume. And the next one, the kind of name says it all, is Cashmere by Clean. Again, super affordable. You can buy it anywhere. And to me, this perfume is so far the closest any house or any brand got to reproducing the feeling of pashmina, the feeling of cashmere sweater. It can feel almost like there is nothing, and yet you can still feel those teeny tiny, almost like bubbles bursting in my nose, like these teeny tiny spices that every once in a while even almost make me wanna kind of like clear my nose, you know, like what is this? It's like it's like cashmere milkshake. Yeah, that's probably how I would describe it, because it combines all of this slightly refreshing and yet soothing notes. Like it has cedar needles, bergamot, lime, but I don't feel any of that in its kind of like in the singular form. It also has middle notes are lavender, mimosa, jasmine, again, don't feel a single one of those separately. It's all a very well-rounded, milky, soothing blend with a little bit of spices. So like as a base we have kayak wood, heliotrope, musk, tonka bean, and sandalwood. Like a lot of these perfumes have it in common that if I'm talking about any kind of sweetness, this is more of like a tonka bean or vanilla kind of sweetness compared to a lot of a more liquid sugar or like caramel syrupy kind of sense. Like none of this would qualify as gourmand, syrupy, or liquid sugar. All of them are more so a little bit spicy, warm, maybe a little bit musky. Like I would say the Clean Cashmere has a hint of a musk that I think makes it more skin-like, gives it a little bit of that kind of like elegant but present, slightly animalic presence. That's like to me, Clean Cashmere does have a little bit of this kind of quiet, very tastefully, like a drop of added musky note that doesn't take it to a full-blown animalics, but just adds a little bit more like of skin warmth to this scent. Another one that I actually acquired very recently, and already I immediately knew that it fits right in because these are soft watercolor like spices, and this is Saffron Blonde by L'Artisan Parfumeur. We're moving more and more toward niche, and again, I'm sorry if some of these brands are not familiar to you. I didn't really choose them because the brand was more highbrow, less highbrow. These are truly just coincidentally a lot of the perfumes that I find to be my personal nudes tend to be these kind of like watercolor, moussey, very light but sophisticated spices. That's just what I realize that that's what I like the most when I don't know what to wear. So Saffron Blonde definitely circles, the whole point of this perfume is to reproduce the warmth and subtlety of saffron as a spice, and like kind of like give it a proper surrounding. Again, to me it feels ever so subtly sweet, just like sometimes black pepper can add a little bit of sweetness to any meal beside the spiciness itself. And saffron itself also has this kind of a round edge of both being flavorful yet soft in low doses. It's beautiful, very light, very it's like a watercolor painting to me. Saffron Blonde by L'Artisan Parfumeur, definitely one of the reliable nudes that I have in my collection. All right, now we're going toward true niche. Some of you probably do know this brand. This is Juliette Has a Gun that can be bought in any Sephora. However, this is their like selective, very expensive line that they have. They have it in these kind of like rectangular bottles, and the bottle itself. Okay, it's very fingerprinty. Like it really collects fingerprints, but it's so beautiful. The cobalt blue of the inner part of the glass and the heavy gold embellishments. Beautiful. So this is Liquid Illusion Luxury Collection by Juliette Has a Gun. I was lucky enough to buy it on a significant discount, and I kind of bought it blindly just because. I liked the description of the notes online. I fell in love with the bottle itself, and I thought, how bad can it be? This is a little bit of a different animal. It still feels like it's one of those quiet nudie scents, but in typical for Juliette Has a Gun and other molecular fragrances fashion, it has this synthetic grabby base that just quietly chains you to itself. Like it doesn't seem like you can even hear it at first, but the longer it stays on your skin, the more it has time to develop, kind of like almost the more firmly it glues to the skin itself. This is a very rare quality of these modern perfumes. despite the fact of being skin-like and nudie, they are exceptionally long-lasting, and a lot of people can smell them off you while you already don't smell them at all. This is exactly like that. To me, it's a little bit dusty. It's almost a little bit, it's both woody, ambery, and dusty at the same time. It has a lot of these kind of like woody muskiness that can go between just quiet and skin-like and almost a little bit sour. It really depends like how it opens out on your skin. A lot of these perfumes you have to try on your own skin because they can react with your skin chemistry in unpredictable fashion. But largely, I like how sophisticated, it's kind of like a world within a world within a world, this kind of quality that Liquid Illusion has, while being a truly non-offensive, very office-friendly scent. Alright, this actually, one of, like two of these that I'm gonna show you, I showed you my very first video on YouTube on this channel, and this is Teresa Desert Argumes Fils de Dieu. I just call it Fils de Dieu, by Etat Libre d'Orange. Also used to be sold in Sephora. There were times that they were very widely available. Now it's mostly people who know niche know about them. Very scandalous brand. They like to kind of, it's like Lady Gaga of perfume world, of the niche perfume world. To me, if you open the notes of Fils de Dieu, you will see probably like a PhD dissertation, like a novel, out of all of the notes that they list, which makes it almost impossible to really understand what it is like. But long story short, if you're curious, just open Fragrantica. You'll be blown away how complex is the description. However, in practice, to me, this is again one of those modestly sweet, almost like mimosa kind of sweet, quiet, sophisticated, warm, spicy perfumes. I love it. It's not the longest lasting on me, so I'm very happy to have like 100 ml. It's like a bucket, a bucket of juice right here. So I'm very generous when I apply this one, and I love it. The next one was also I showed you in my very first niche perfume haul, and this is Houghtons by Rancé, a historic French perfume house. It's one of those that has so much history behind its creations that it's almost impossible. You feel like you're wearing all of this heritage every time you spray it. This one, to me, they are kind of similar, but Houghtons by Rancé is a little bit flirtier. I would even say somewhat fruitier in a way. It has a little bit of more of a feminine, kind of freely side to it. But again, all of them share this same tonka bean / vanilla, very modest, moussey, light, watercolorish, warm heart that is wrapped in a little bit of spices here and there. All of these have ever so subtle differences, and yet I can't really advocate that you buy every single one if you want to kind of like try this kind of dress on. Any of these I feel have their own little bit of a unique story, and yet I think they're fairly similar that you don't really need all of them. For me, since it's my olfactory nude, I can buy like twice as many and I'll still use them up because this is my comfort zone. When I apply these perfumes, I feel like I can breathe. And in this sense, Houghtons is a little bit more flirtier, a little bit fruitier. I can feel that it has a little bit of this retro, slight nostalgia weaved into the quiet sophistication of warm spices that it has. And the last one is a super new addition to my collection, but as soon as I sprayed it, I knew it will fit right in. And this is a new house for me. This is Perfumes Dolce Paris, and the perfume is called La Dandy. This one, to me, La Dandy by Dolce, has a little bit of almost this like hard candy kind of note in it, in addition to all of this simple yet not so simple, spicy but not prickly, all of these notes, again, it's almost like one of those vegetable milkshakes, matcha lattes, if you wish. I love it. It's quiet, it's nudie, yet it has elegance to it, it has sophistication. It's like one of those long novels that you kind of like in the modern world when everything is so fast paced, you open this really heavy and thick book. It's like, all right, and you go flip through pages, like, all right, you know, the plot could go a little bit faster. You know, nobody's got that much time to read through so many pages. But if you stick with it and it becomes almost your daily routine that you read, I don't know, 100 pages every night, if that's possible. I don't know, is it? I guess for some people. It almost becomes your most favorite thing in the world to have this quiet time when things slow down and you have the ability to enjoy the subtleties and the nuances of the plot, of the scene, of the characters. This is what these perfumes feel to me. And I'm gonna finish on, again, on an affordable note because I discovered this perfume only this year, even though it's been in the market for almost, I think, over a decade at this point. And this is Burberry Brit Rhythm. Burberry Brit has a myriad of flankers. There's so many versions, floral, this, that, eau de parfum, eau de toilette. I found my Brit that I actually I'm not really a big fan of other flankers, but this one completely changed my mind about Burberry as a brand and their perfumes in general. I'm not as big of a fan of their recent releases because I feel they're trying too hard in a way to keep up with the Joneses of this liquid sugar world, but the older perfumes that they have are just exquisite. And again, they cost pennies at this point. I bought this, like this is like the biggest size bottle that they have. I think this is 100 ml, yep. Right? Oh, okay, 90 ml. 90 milliliters, 3 fluid ounces for $18. It's nothing. Like, go to any Sephora, any perfume you're gonna take off the shelf is gonna be at least 50. I think at least. This is absolutely exceptional perfume for how elegant, luxurious, yet simple it feels. This is the most luxurious everyday lavender that I think exists for this kind of price. I have more of a strict and dry lavender by Penhaligon's. I have more spicy, complex and sweeter lavender by Serge Lutens, and yet my hand always goes to this one, to Burberry Brit Rhythm. Every time I'm thinking about, I want to feel both relaxed, put together, a little bit kind of like a little polished, and yet simple. You know, like this is exactly what this perfume combines, all of these facets in one bottle. It's both soothing because of lavender, it's uplifting because of the notes of citrus and bergamot at the opening, and it has this polished yet unassuming, luxurious base that is so typical for older Burberry perfumes. I absolutely love it. I had to tell you about it, and I'm gonna finish this video with this particular bottle because I can't believe that it wasn't in my life all these years, and only in 2019 I discovered it. It's incredible. It's incredible, cheap yet very sophisticated yet casual perfume in my collection. Love it. All right. These were all my fragrance nudes. I'm really curious to know what is your olfactory nude. What kind of perfumes you can wear with your eyes closed, regardless of the weather, regardless of how you feel, regardless of where you're going. What is that comfort zone? What are the notes, or maybe what are the specific perfumes that serve that purpose for you? Please let me know. I would really like to share these kind of to have these conversations between us. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you're new to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video.